Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michaels. The grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for being on the show. It's Tuesday. It's October something. I think is it the 12th? Is that right? Is it October the 12th? Tuesday morning. And golly, time. Just clicks right on, doesn't it? Love it, love it. Thanks for being on the show this morning. I rolled 2 videos there because I was cleaning up my mess. Oh my gosh, cleaning up my mess. I got to show you a photo here. So take a look what I just did. I made a cup of tea this morning, and I did just a few minutes of reading, and I came up and I made a little list of what I thought I wanted to do this morning on the show, just thinking about it briefly. I'm not going to do an outline for the show, right? I mean, because that takes away the spontaneity of your comments and what I might turn to and what story might pop up and all the good stuff that you just say, let art happen. Oh, for heaven's sakes, let art happen. If you haven't learned anything from me yet, learn this. Just show up. Just show up to your art space. I'm pushing that art space thing. And so because you need a place to just sort of create and be messy. Ready for this? Just before, wait, what's in my pocket? All kinds of stuff here. Just before I keep up here, I keep on my desk, I keep a piece of white paper. It's 2022 or 20 by 18 or 22 by 18. I don't know what it is. It's like a blotter pad that your Miss Skelton kept on her 3rd grade class, or Miss Rowland. I had both. They just couldn't keep me in the 3rd grade. They wanted to keep me in the 3rd grade. And so, she put it there so she could lay her pens down, and her coffee rings would get on that and not on the desk. So underneath my desk here, this is a barley twist table leg desk. It's 100 years old, maybe. And they were the desks that my youth ministry team used, because we got rid of official looking desks and put a couple of these tables around and gave them leather club chairs and laptops and said, be creative, just let things happen. And so that's been my philosophy for a while. That's sometimes good with things. Sometimes you have to plan. Most of the times you do. But you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying hold it loosely through your fingers and let your art go that way. And so I was cleaning up. I had one sheet of paper left on this flyer, but I'd already purchased another one, thinking I'm going to run out one of these days. So I got to show you what happened here. I'm going to pull up a photo just so you can see it. Here it is. This was about 7 minutes before I started the show. Ready? I got to have another cup of tea, I told myself. Shaboom. And so there it is. And so so I'm thinking, there's the start of my list. See, it says, welcome, going to paint on Kilimanjaro. It says not the actual mountain, because I'm not going to climb that this morning, but on the paper. And there I went, all the brushes, my tea went everywhere. And I didn't even turn the cup over. It was my cotton picking thermos that, it was my thermos. Did I put that in the wrong place? Yes, I did. Sorry. It was my thermos that has a little pour lid on it, which should be really clever, but it had caught, and me threading it on this morning, I threaded it on crooked, and it had pinched it open. And so it was, when I pushed the little button, the pressure goes, poof, and it just blew it all out. So instead of pouring my tea the way I should have been able to pour my tea, like this, keeping a hot thermos under the edge of my desk here, it just went flying across there. So I thought about just keeping it all there and making a painting out of it, but it was too messy to start with. So here I am drying off all my brushes because they got tea soaked. And I have a handful of brushes here this morning because I'm going to use most of them. I'm going to use a lot of them anyway. There's a pen in there. It got wet too. And I add a little color. And so here we go. Anyway, thanks for being on the show. Let me say hello. And let me just do that real quickly, and I'll leave it on the desk here. Here's what I'm going to do on the desk while I'm saying hello. I'm going to take just a Mr. bottle. I should call it not a Mr. or a Mrs. bottle, but a misting bottle, M-I-S-T-I-N-G, a little bottle from American Journey that sprays a fine mist, and I'm just going to spray a little bit on these colors just to say, good morning, wake up. And so I'm just going to let them marinate in that water a second. And a little more water than I normally use because I'm going to use some wet colors this morning to pop over here. And I might as well add a little bit too while I'm saying good morning. This is Red Hot Mama. Comes in a tube like this. I'm going to have this all over me before it's done. Anyway, that's why I wear a white shirt, remember? Okay. Sometimes in here I use Joe's Red. Sometimes I use Cad Red. Sometimes I use Red Hot Mama. My three favorite reds from Cheap Joe's, this is a Cad. Oh, this is Cad Red right here. So I'm just going to put a little push of that right there. Do I care that mix up? No, that's my whole point. I just like those different hues of red to go in there. Here's a little ultramarine blue. I saw it was getting just a tad low because I use so much blue. I really love the blue. I love the color blue. Appreciate God making the sky and reflecting the water that way, but at the same time, I use that quite a bit. And then I use these three colors. There is gamboge, which I'm going to fill up my yellow well there just a little bit with. So that's how I use those colors. That's the only three I brought over from the box over there on the other desk. Yeah, there's another desk over there. So I'm going to let that just sort of marinate there with a little sprig of water on it. My brushes are drying out, and then let me say hello here. Thanks for being on the show this morning. Good grief, you guys. I'm so blessed that you pile on and watch this show, and I hope you do it simply because, one, you need to always have a good story to connect with people, and I don't know where those are going to come from. They just come out of folks I run into. In fact, oh my gosh, I got to make a note. Note to self, bird seed. All right, there we go. That'll remind me of a story that happened yesterday. The best stories are not the one that you read in some book like some sort of soup for your soul or one of those things. Those are fine if you're shared with kids and school kids. You can't come up with a story. But the majority of my stories just come from real life of people that you bump into. You know, yesterday I'm talking about overhearing a conversation in a restaurant outside a little cafe and here in Charlotte. And I painted the young lady and the gentleman she was with. I painted her a rooster that said, keep on keeping on, or keep on preaching or keep on what it was. And I don't remember, but the point was it made her day. And I, in fact, thought she's going to think I've been listening to this whole conversation. And so how am I going to get into this? And I said, look, I apologize if this seems forward, or, Carol and I were there and I said, or that I was eavesdropping, but I wasn't. This is a small space, and your voice was just hitting me right in the ear. And so I tried to, hum a tune and sing and I said the Gettysburg Address twice. I didn't say all that stuff. I'm just kidding you. Anyway, the best stories are going to come around. So it's all about stories. And so it's all about you finding yourself as an artist. So thanks for joining me on the show. See there? Jim Poole, Dr. Jim Poole was on the show yesterday. I saw his name pop up and I said hello. And then he and I had a phone conversation afterwards. And I said, man, you know what? people on this show who have grandchildren and children and are involved with schools and teaching kids, and they love your book. Some of them have found it already, and I said, send me a couple and I'll give them away on the show. And he said, I'll do it. So I'm counting on those to come in. When they come in here, I gave my last one away. I don't even have it. So he's gonna send me a couple books. So Gene Anthalzer, thanks for being on the show. Karen Binder, Beverly Schmidt from gorgeous Greenville, South Carolina. No kidding. Walking across that footbridge in Greenville is just pristine. The water rolling underneath. That's a great art area. Love that place. Andy, thanks for being on the show. It's Faglioli. I always mess this last name up, and I think you phonetically spelled it for me one time, but I wasn't smart enough to print that off. Eileen Walker, Marion Awad, thanks for being on the show. There's Lori Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson. Thanks for being on the show. Some of you probably don't even know where that came from, but there's an old comic years ago. Jenna Scott, thanks. Nancy Catlett, Deborah Spanger. Nancy has some books and buys a lot of paintings, and I'm grateful. So many of you do, and thank you for hanging my art in your home. And I have people say everything from what's in the Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle book of saying it's not fine art. I go, what's fine with me? To the fact that they buy your art? Like, what's wrong with these people? Who are they? Linda Linhart, thanks for being on the show. Fern Skelly, yes. Chris Young, there's Dinah Nicholas, thanks for being on the show. Dinah, I think, sets in when Jason is teaching the art class. It's not like you're holding the phone for him. I think you got some art in your blood design also, so that's pretty fun to have you on the show. Glenda Small, thanks for being on the show. Look at that. Glenda Edwards Small is on the show this morning, holding down the fort. Patricia Brooks, always P.L. Brooks as we know her. Good artist, good encourager. Just appreciate the friendship that we've developed online through projects. And grateful. Donna Sell Barton, think of you every time I see a Da Vinci drawing and your gears and all the pieces. Even thought of you when I was in the Sea Dog Brewery Company in Topsom, Maine. And there was a gear that I thought, I want to sketch that gear. And made me think of your drawings. The Rube Goldberg drawings are just off the chain. Catherine Brousseau, thanks for being on the show. Denise Albright, it was avocado. Somebody said this in the comments yesterday. They said, yes, avocado, but they did call it another color. They didn't change it. They just changed it to some other green, and I can't even remember what that was. So I'm busy with projects right now, so I stop in the mornings to do this, and then I got to go. In fact, I got to show you. I'll show you later how busy I am. Not that I'm bragging. It's just that I've been waiting on the weather for this one project, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Pat Normandale, thanks for being on the show. June Jones, Jack Wolfenbarger, good to see your name on here, my friend. Jack and I go all the way back to that metropolis of around Knox County, outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. High school, shared some shop classes together. Great day in the morning. Lisa, thank you for being on the show. Creativity is messy, she says. It's Petrosor. I always mess up your name too. These names are hard for me. I went to Bluegrass Elementary School right in Knox County there, and it was tiny. And we only had one dictionary, and we got to check it out every other week. And I don't think I ever took it home. It wasn't like taking a hamster home. Amy Roche, thank you. Ann Westra, good morning to you. Bert Crone, Linda, golly. Karen Miller, thanks for being on the show. Karen Pulver, there's a lot of Karens in the world. Jackie Wallace, Debbie Bennett. Okay, a painting on the desk. Yes, it was a painting out of my teacup. Phil, appreciate your comment yesterday. Thank you for sending me... And Phil, I took the little rooster downstairs. I had a lot of mugs that were going out yesterday. My room mug, I've sold quite a few of these. Hey, remember, this is my right hand and my left hand. One of them, it took so long for the company to get them, and I think they felt so bad, but they did a great job. They painted the rooster on both sides. So now I finally say, I'm going to add to the list. It's right-handed. It's left-handed. You can milk a goat in it. It keeps your drink warm. I'm drinking Thai Fu tea today, and they're not a sponsor yet. Okay, I'm ripping off my old page. I have a clean page to start today. Yes, rip that page off. I rip off a page every morning, even if that other one just has some tea stains. like this. This is where I lay my wet brushes back down. All right. Cecile, thanks for being on the show. Miss Carla, Heather, Chris Whitaker, always welcome here. The gnome sketcher herself. B, thanks for being on the show. Alice Durham. Let's see. Patricia Evans, thank you. Pat Lightbody. Skeeter Powell is here. Skeeter, I'll be sending you a note. I've responded to our friend, haven't heard back, so that'll make sense to you. Rhonda DeHart, thank you. Rhonda, I remember your name because you're from Faith, North Carolina. See there? Bing. All right, here we go. Sharon Duke, thanks for being on the show. Ruth Fulton, great day. Michael Ashburn, man, I hope you and I need to talk today, my friend. I'll call you later. You've been on the road. Michael, my friend's been traveling around raising money for Young Life. He speaks at a lot of fundraising banquets. He was working on one while I was down in Jacksonville working on another one for another organization. Kind of fun. I'm thankful I come from a line of storied storytellers. Isn't storied a good word? Yeah, it's a good word. Ruth Fulton, welcome. Terry Tardy from the Oregon coast. Yes, the rainy season should be upon you. Never been out there. That's my next coast to visit someday and journal it. Okay. Wyoming Snow. Patricia Evans says the Sea Dog Brewing Company is awesome. That's awesome. Jeanette Seal. Golly, thanks for being on the show. Okay, I'm going to jump through this. Oh my gosh, June Jones, I'm going to tell your story. Okay, can I do that right here? Listen to this. This is kind of stories that things are made up. June Jones. I was at an art show Sunday. A booth I visited. Gorgeous watercolor flowers, and I was studying the paper it was painted on, and I was commenting to the artist how beautiful. Hot pressed 300-pound paper, the artist said, and the artist said, "You must be an artist. Wait for it. Wait for it." No, but I try to think like one. Boom! Is that not, if I ever thought of a line in my life, that's the great one, because it's not necessarily false humility. Not at all. It's the truth. It's a mindset, and people don't think of that, because you know what you have to do? Think about this. June, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it every now and then. And what happens? She laughs. Every time that someone says, "You must be an artist," and I don't want to go, "Yes." And I don't want to go find my little French tam and put it on and go, or my glasses to hold my hair back there. And people say that to me all the time. "Oh my gosh, poor man, he's got on 2 pair of glasses." I go, "Nope, these are a headband." And so that lightness loosens people up. So don't you love that comment? I say, yes, I'm an artist. "Oh, haven't seen your work." It's like people say, "You've written a book?" Oh, see, remember this story? I tell you, if I'm writing a book, people say, "That's interesting. Tell us about it." If you've written a book, you say, "Yeah, I've written a book." They say, "Oh, what's the name of it?" And you say, "It's da-da-da-da-da." And they go, "Never heard of it." "Oh, okay. All right, so you want some more of this macaroni salad?" Or potato salad. But when people say you're an artist, you go, "Yes." And they say, "Oh, where's your work hanging?" You go, "I'm on some of the best refrigerators in the country. I'm on a couple of Westinghouse. I'm on some of those new LGs. Ooh." You know, I go back so far that I'm on a couple Sears and Roebuck refrigerators. That's how far back my heart goes. But if I say I try to think like an artist, or I think like one, it levels the ground. Oh, wow, what a great mindset. See the difference? That's what Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle's a book. That's why that book is important to me, because it says some of those things. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so here we go. Is that true? Pat Brooks says her studio has white carpeting. I love it. Not a spot on it yet. We'll change that someday. Okay, here we go. Let me drag out speaking of big pieces of paper, this is 140 pound, and it is, but this is, look at the size of this paper. I don't know what size it is. I think it's 11 by 14. This is, Fabriano paper, 11 or 14. Yep, 14 by 11. This is Fabriano paper. This is 100% rag cotton. I was actually, and I'm going to still paint on Kilimanjaro this morning, and I have 2 pads of Kilimanjaro here. Take a look. They're different. Do you see that? Yeah, they are. They're different. Now, why? Well, when you go buy paper, decide if you're going to get a block or if you decide if you're going to get a pad. A block or a pad. What's the difference? Okay, this is a block. It has a little fly sheet. The paper is only glued at the top on a pad. Boop. On a pad, the paper's only glued at the top. You just paint on this, you rip it off. You might want to tape this down a little bit because if you use a lot of water, it's going to want to buckle on you a little bit. I don't use that much water. I don't use that much color. That's just my style. This is a watercolor pad. Excuse me. Pad. Gosh, I've got it in front of me and I mess it up. Pad. Pad. Block. Sometimes pads come this way, but this is a pad. This is a block. Ooh, boy, this one is new. Don't you love that? Wow, that's exciting. Let me see if I can get this piece of paper off here without tearing something up. I could have used a bigger knife, but I didn't have one in my pocket. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Wow. Brand new watercolor pad here, and I'm going to show you what makes this, excuse me, what a block. Golly. I need coffee instead of tea today. What makes this a watercolor block is the fact that it is glued down. Always look for this. Glued 4 sides. Glued 4 sides. Glued 4 sides. Why would you glue it 4 sides? So I can paint on it, let it dry, and then take my either knife or some of you take a credit card, some take a nail file, put one of these little tools right down in here like this, and then just go zip, 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 and work it off. And so your paper stays a little flatter, okay? So this is Kilimanjaro. It's made by Joe Miller. Usually says, oh, it does, says Joe Miller approved right there. I like that very much. So I'm gonna do this. I'll just start with one of these, and that way you'll see what you get. Okay, so I'm going to just open this pad up. Got a little fly cover that I like. I'm just going to rip a pad piece off. Done. Put that back on there. Move it in. I'm just going to lay this down, and I'm not going to practice what I preach. I am not going to tape that down. I'm just going to put on some music, and I'm just going to drop some paint on here. I haven't done one of these in a while. I've done one with some liquid colors probably at about a month and a half ago, but every now and then I just like to go back. Yesterday I was painting small refrigerator art. Today I'm going to paint something a little larger, 9 by 12. Good size for matting and putting in a bigger frame. If you have to cover up bigger wall space, have to cover up a hole in your wall. Do you use your art for beauty or do you use it to cover up holes in the wall? Both. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let me put on a little music and let me just paint some for you this morning. So I appreciate it. Ash says he's been served more potato salad and macaroni salad to change the subject that I can count. Yeah, no kidding, man. All right. All right. So, and I want to ask you about this question in a minute, Pat, that you asked Chris. I want to know what journal she's using too. So let me just throw on Love Blocks. I also use the Kilimanjaro book with the spiral binding. Yeah, and Phil, that's one of my favorites of all time. And this is the one I actually started with, this one here. It has a piece of 300 pound in the front, has little flyer pieces of paper in here you can paint on. This is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Love this, love this, love this. Love the fact that it lays open. Love the fact you can sketch on the go, throw it down. And this is called the paint book, okay? So these are pads. These are blocks. This is called a paint book. I'm a Kilimanjaro fan. It's just made so cotton picking well. I threw out all these big brushes this morning because I'm always painting with a Yasutoma small brush, something like this. There, that's a number 1. That's a number 2. Number 1. This is a JB 100, and I gotta tell you this, bro. I know I've mentioned this on the show, but I have to tell you, this is it's kind of a sad story. The family that made these brushes, I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. The family that made these brushes for Yasutoma had been making them for over 50 years in the same little village in Japan. And COVID took a lot of the family members there. They were hit very, very hard. And so they're not making these brushes anymore. So these are gone out of supply. It's the JB100. There may be one or two left in some art stores around the country. And I'm going to look a little bit because it's a great brush. Yasutoma doesn't sell them anymore. They're trying to have someone remake the brush, but they don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's the end of an era. We don't know if anybody will make it as well as that family did. So sad story about that brush. And so I usually keep it hung over here on the wall. This just happened recently. And so this is a couple other brushes. Here's the, I think this is the, what is this? I can't even remember what this one is. I think this is the 110. It jumps way up. Okay, so here we go. So I'm gonna sketch a rooster on here with my Lamy pen. Haven't used that in a while. There's Mommy. This big piece of paper, and you're probably wondering why I started with this rooster way over here on this side. I have no earthly idea. I just think I made a mistake. I'm so used to painting 8 by 8 that I went, look, there's a whole nother 3 inches of paper over here you didn't mess with. What the heck's wrong with you? Yeah, I can't answer that question. Well, I maybe could, but it'd be too difficult and not appropriate. All right, so here we go. So there's a little bit of that. I'm going to draw some... all right, and so I'm just going to take a big old brush today and dip it in. But first, I'm just going to throw some water down on this this painting. Just taking this brush and just literally popping some water on there, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to pop some color in there like so. Holy smokes! Did you see the amount of paint that went down? Oh, that's huge, huge. It's one thing about painting with a brush this big. Look at the size of this thing. Okay, it's as big as but can you do it? Oh yeah, that's what I love about Yasutoma bamboo brushes. Look at this. I can just go in there now and get a little detail. See there? I'll put a block right there. I'll put a little red right there, just a touch, and then a little bit of red right here. Now I'm barely going to clean out this brush. I want some red in it. You see I left some red in the brush? A little bit of red right there. Now I'm just going to start sweeping that through here. See that red coming in? Okay? And I'm going to get some purple in there like you won't believe. So I just threw the paint on the painting and then started painting at it. That's a lot. I threw the paint on the painting and then started painting through it. I just started using my brush and just sort of sliding it through there, okay? And I can put some more blue in there and watch it just take off. Can you see it move? Look. It's following the water, and here's where you start to get those cool-looking mushrooms that we really love in watercolor. Some of us do. Some people fight that. If you're a fine-line watercolor artist, and this is probably right now, if you're type A, you're going like, oh, no, don't say he's doing that. I love it because of what it does, okay? So remember, I wet this paint down quite a bit. Got it pretty moist. Now I'm coming in here and I'm just letting the brush just dance a little bit. That's the word for my brushes. I can't dance, but my brushes can, okay? There is a little piece of buzz hanging on the end of that. Ba-dink! Got it out of there, okay? Coming in. Look at I broke into the red here. I broke the dam on this wall and I can see that red mushrooming out and I'm just going to let that go. Remember I told you I've already got my red mixed 3 ways. I've got Red Hot Mama, I got Cadmium Red, I've got Joe's Red, I've got My Eyes Are Red. I just made that last one up. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. And so this brush holds so much water that I'm actually going in and drying it off just a little bit. I wanted to make sure it was clean. I'm going to go get some Terry Tardy turquoise and just pop it right in here like I like to do. And I might just bounce a little bit there like so. I want to go get a touch of green. This rooster needs a little bit of green in his tail feather. There it is right there. Just pop some of this. It's a cross between a spring green and a little bit of an olive. And I just let it run down right there. And I may just put some of that while I've got it here just underneath. And I shouldn't have done that first, but too late now. I did. Okay. Why? Well, because because I wanted to paint the feet first. But I'm going to come in. This is titanium, buff titanium right here. A good neutral color to bring in a little touch of gray. Look what's happening with all the water I'm using in this painting. You can start to see it really take off. I'm not done. I got a little purple I want to put in there. This is really not just purple. Does it matter what these colors are to you name-wise? I don't remember. Sometimes people say, oh, tell me what. I do remember 3 of the most important ones to me, okay? Ultramarine blue, gamboge, and the reds, either Joe's Red, Red Hot Mama, or Cad Red. And I prefer all 3 tubes and just put a little of each in there and just let them meld together, marinate, as I'm saying this morning. Okay, I do know that this is Andrew's turquoise, which I call Terry Tardy turquoise, just because Terry Tardy, my friend from Coos Bay, Oregon, is on the show and has been since I met her before I started the show. Met she and her husband in Orlando at a lunch table in a tiny little conference, about 5,000 people. We were all sitting there, and I said, hey. So there are a couple greens. I just mentioned spring green and olive green. There's some, I know this is, this purple is called Royal Amethyst, but I don't remember what this raw umber is called, or this brown, or this this gold. I don't remember. I just don't. And it's really not that important to me. I carry around several colors that I like in my eye. Does that make sense? Listen once again. It's not about the name of the color. It might be when you go back and order it, but somewhere over there I have a tube and I know whether I like it or not. So over a period of time, you're going to build up your style. And not only is your style going to say, this is what I paint, this is what I love, your style is going to have to do with, that's the colors that I like to use. 40 years from now, my grandkids are looking at some of these paintings, they'll go, you know what, my Roo painted that, because look at the tail. It's got this in it, this in it, and this in it, and it's just his messy style. That's what he does. And so they're going to know my work a little bit by that. And so for that reason, I tend to just use the colors that I like. So sometimes my daughter will use a palette like a palette like this, a butcher block palette, enamel, and she'll put right here Royal Amethyst with a Sharpie, or maybe she'll write it like this. That's a lot of work. And so I tend to not do that, okay? And she might write, oh, okay, Andrew's turquoise here. And she might write, oh, this is that gold you were looking for, and it's called this, or this is June bug. And so those are some of the colors. If you use Daniel Smith colors, or if you use HTC colors, or if you use, gold, who knows, just name Da Vinci or Rembrandt colors. Everybody has their own name. They all sit around like they name cruise ships, you know. My point is, find the ones that lighten up your heart, lighten up your eye. And if you're using those in your colors, you go, that's the one I'm after right there. And I'll promise you, that's how I can get by with painting that whole journal with an Altoid tin full of colors. Because I have my 3 primaries in there, the blue, the red, the yellow. And then I picked up a black. I picked up some green. I got a little touch of that violet over here. There's some turquoise in there. Look, there are really the best 6. Remember we started our first painting class ever? I said, just use 6 colors. In fact, if you go to Cheap Joe's catalog and you type in the search Roodoodles, I pop up on some page. Or if you Google under the SKU, Roo 857, you'll see the 6 colors come up that I use the most. They're there. Those are the ones I can carry with me, because out of those I can mix just basically any color in the rainbow, and I don't have to carry a palette that weighs 40 pounds and has 256 colors on it. I don't need that, okay? And I don't want to carry that. This Altoid box, by the way, I've had a long time. I started painting with it, I know, in 2010, maybe 2009, when I was working on some small little tiny paintings that I was doing with one little brush and this. I got to show you something that my son just gave me. This is, look at this. This one here, you see this? This is the sugar-free version. See it? It's a tad, it looks like it's a tad smaller, but I don't think it is. Nope, same size, just painted differently. The date on the back is 2008. This one's 2006. This is 2008. And I haven't filled this one up yet. It just has some toss away colors in here from the palette that my friend gave me from uh, Paris. Okay, so I carry those in there, and I have 3 or 4 more of those tins. You know that. And so I'm just getting about colors. Don't worry about the colors too much. Worry about your style. Worry about your brush and your water. And then change the color later if you don't like it, you know? But don't spend too much time in front of the art store rack and don't spend 30 minutes laboring over, should I take this color or this color? Just take one of them and decide. If you want it a little darker, use more pigment. If you want it a little lighter, use more water, okay? Lighten up a little bit. Remember, think like an artist. Hey, I can use that. That's all I have. That's why I do painting sometimes in just pen and ink. It's just 2 colors. Just go with it. Have some fun. All right, I got to make myself a little leg color here. Just going to get a little yellow. And going to get a little of this mixed red, a little more yellow. Shouldn't have put that big old brush down in there. That was a mistake. I forgot what I was painting with already. I'm just going to clean that out a little, okay? And I'm going to throw that away because next thing I'll do is I'll clean my glasses with it. And the world will be a different hue. I'll be going like, what happened? Where did everybody go? All right, so I just mixed up a little bit of that to put in there. You see a little darkness coming into these legs? You see that little streak right there? That kind of looks like the front of the leg is shadowed. You didn't see me get another color to shadow that. That's the advantage of that fountain pen. The Lamy ink, or Lamy, sounds like mommy, it still blends, it still leaks, it still bleeds. Okay, so that's how that comes out. So there's a little Roo on his way somewhere. And I think if I were doing this drawing, and I may finish it, I want to do another big one for you, show you. I will put something over here, and I'll probably have this conversation going on. He's going to have a honeybee, or he's going to have some strange conversation going on. Maybe a peep standing on a fence post. I'm going to put something up here. Maybe he's standing at an apple press. Some of you yesterday were going to pick apples, and I was a tad jealous. Some were going to pick apples and make cider, and I just remember those fall days of having oh my gosh, some Stamen wine saps, just a great Eastern apple that's just bursting with flavor. And I remember just breaking all those up and then making fresh. And we used to serve hot ham biscuits and apple cider off of a wood cooked stove where my blacksmith shop was. Oh, come on. So that gives you a great idea of just a lot more water. And also, I don't know if you can see this, but I don't know if you can see this, but this paper is buckling just a little bit because the tail, I use so much water from that giant brush. I mean, this thing is a mop without the bucket, okay? And I love it. But what will happen is this will frame completely flat and it'll push down. I'm going to let this dry just a little bit more before I put some detail in there. But I'll come back. Remember, I've also got these bamboo brushes that are so good for things like this. Take a look. If you just take the brush and split it out a little bit like this, you see me just sort of splitting it out like that right there? Okay. And then I touch right in here and pick up some of that green on it and split it out a little bit like this. And I can just flip this brush in like so. Let me just get some more paint here and show you what I'm talking about. Here. So if I take the brush now and I split it out like this, see me just pulling the sideways? I can just take it like this and just make the coolest little grass strokes in there like this without going in and thinking, what's grass look like? Just make it natural. Just let the brush dance and just let it be where it falls. You know what I mean by make it natural? Let me show you a project that I'm working on. Can I do that? This will help explain this. Here's your little storytelling part. Take a look at, let's see, is this it right here? Is this the new scene? Take a look at this right here. Boom. 4 sheets of steel, 4 by 8 feet in diameter, or in size, 4 feet by 8 feet. Now, I have 21 of these sheets on a trailer in my backyard right now, okay? So there are 21 of these sheets there. You see that? Okay. All right, there's 21 of those there. So when I finish today, I'll go take off this white shirt And I will put on a work shirt and some serious safety glasses, and I'll wait until the sun pops out a little bit. I've got to rust those in blues and oranges and yellows, just natural looking rust. I don't have time to put them out in the field somewhere and let rain naturally fall on them. Naturally fall. That's a new word for you today. Let your art kind of flow with a little bit of a natural push. And here's what I mean by that. Instead of me just making everything so, kids paint apples all the same and they all look perfectly round and they all look, no, just apples are all shapes and grass is just everywhere. So we sometimes will come in with a little brush and we'll pin it all in there. I don't even do that. If I'm working with a pen, sometimes I'll just go and I'll just take it and I'll just drop it in this way and I'll bend some to the right, some to the left. I'll cross some over. I'll just go everywhere with that so that it has a little bit of a more of a natural look. And that's what I'm looking for in my drawing. I'm not trying to build a plastic world. It's the reason I don't paint blacksmithing, my blacksmithing work black. And I don't sand it down and paint it black. It looks like plastic. I don't want it to look like plastic. I want to see the hammer marks. I want to see where it's been hit and missed and banged up a little bit and scratched. I want to see the dimples in it. And so I want to see that in my art too. It's just my personal style, but I'm telling you, it takes the heat off of me as an artist. And they're going like, you're so messy. And I go, I love it. I love the creativity in the natural. So what I'll do with these pieces of sheet metal is, and these are pretty heavy pieces that weigh about 100 pounds each. I got 21 of them out there. So I drag them into place and then I'll rust them. And I'll use some interesting chemicals to do that. I'll use everything from tea and heat as a catalyst. I'll use well water, rainwater. I'll use vinegar. I'll use peroxide. I've just got some crazy ways, and I've been doing this for a long time. And the company came and said, "Hey, remember that project you did up in Bowling Green State University 10 years ago? We want there are 21 sheets, and they're a wall in a restaurant." So that's the project that I'll be working on today, tomorrow, and then getting them all coated with spray. And so it's a lot like me painting like this. I take a bigger brush and I don't think like, let's get a roller and roll this on. No. That's not how God rusts things out in that's not how old cars rust. That's not how buildings rust. Lay a piece of tin out there and look at your tin roofs. What happens? It runs down to gravity and pieces get hot and there's some oil on it. I said, don't clean this metal off. I want the oil on it. And go, well, how do you rust if it has oil on it? I said, trust me, I'm gonna take it oil off in certain areas so that it has this natural look. How will it turn out? I don't know. I'll show you some photos later. Now you see it's just gunmetal blue. So good luck. Here we go. Anyway, somebody said, go BGSU Falcons. Yes, I'm driven by that. I love it, love it, love it. I won't patina this because that's more for copper and it has a green tint. This will have more oranges and rust and a little bit of a red hue to it, or it's going to have a little bit of a blue, but it won't be patinaed. I've patinaed copper though, and there's a couple of nasty chemicals that you have to use to patina, and so it's not too fun sometimes. All right, let me show you one more painting, and do this just a little differently here. And this one's going to be on the block, on the pad, the block. This one's glued down 4 sides, so I'm going to push it down there. I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to grab a little bit of blue, and I'm just going to spread the blue out like that. This is the one that I do so often for when I go into 1st grade class or 5th grade class, and I say, how many people are artists are here? And somebody always says, oh, I am. And I go, great, man, I'd love to have you here. Glad you're here today. And could you just come up here for a second and help me put some, could you come up here for a second and just help me put some paint on this page? Could you just sprinkle a little bit right here and here and here? And you already see the rooster there, don't you? See, it's just that quick. You found it already. And so I'll put it like that, and people will look at it, and we'll turn the page, and we'll walk around it, and then I'll grab a smaller brush than this one. This one's actually, this is not a bad brush. I could probably do it with this. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab like a number. What's this? Number 8 or 10? This must be an 8. No, it's a 10. That's fine. I'll take a 10 American Journey brush. Ooh, and here's a brush that I don't think I've ever used on this show, so I'm going to use it. It's a 1/2-inch flat brush. There it is right there. All right, so let me paint this for you. So this is what I do, and people sort of walk away going, son of a gun, could we have done that? Would that make sense? wet these brushes down and just go in here. And I'm going to start on this side right here and just pick up some yellow. I might have to put a little bit more on there, but I don't know. I might get by with this. I think I'm going to touch a little more red in there just to get the wattles in. There they go right there. See that? He's going to be kind of rugged. And probably pick up a little more of that yellow. Just didn't get enough splashed in there for me just yet. I wanted a little more of that. Whoa, no. Didn't want that much red down there. All right, so then here's what I'm going to do. A little more water. Come in here and just start. I got a little bit of green in that. Oh, no, it's the yellow left in my brush. That's what it is. Look at that, huh? So that's coming in there already. There's some serious green. I'm going to mix it in there like that. Now, I can always go back and pick up paint. It's not like I'm breaking any rule. I made the idea up in the beginning anyway, but I wanted to show you just how different. So less water, more paint, and just wet paint. So I'm actually just throwing some really wet paint in there and just letting this go wherever it wants to go. Keeping my brush kind of clean. Every time it's clean, I go back in there. Just come back in. I want a little bit more of this. Look what I did there. I took a little bit of that violet and I put it up in that red. You see that? And it gave a great shadow to the comb. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about you learn to play and just have fun with it. And so I didn't sketch here. I just pulled this down, started with a blue leg, and now I'm putting a little bit of yellow in there like this. Might go just get a touch of orange and put that in there. And I like orange and blue. University of Tennessee, you gotta like orange, and orange and blue are together in Florida, but my kids could have gone to Florida, but they didn't. They went to University of Tennessee. Hey, so you see how fast that came together with just me throwing some paint on there? Why? I'll tell you why. I was gonna use this brush too. Sometimes you pick up a flat brush, and watch this. I'm gonna pick this flat brush up, and I'm gonna go out with it like this, and then I'm just gonna turn it, so I'm on its edge, and I'm just gonna turn it and come down like this. So put a bend in the feather. You see that? So you can go out like this and then just break it down like this, and it looks like the edge broke off on the feather, or it's drooping down. See? So that's kind of good look to it. Look right here what happened, and I didn't do anything to make it happen. It's just the paint running down in the leg. I wish you could see that. I'm going to run the risk here of moving my camera, so stand still 1 second. Wait, you're not going anywhere, are you? Here we go. Look at this right here. I'll show you something. Got to refocus. Do you see those little fibers running down into the leg right there? That's just where I put 1 drop of paint in there, and it's just following the color down. It's just so cool when it does that. That's the part that I long for in the watercolors that I do. I just love it when they head downhill and they start turning into little tributaries, riverways, and you go, man, how did he know that was going to do that? He didn't have a clue. So if some artist tells you, well, I'm going to put this here, you're like, no, you're not. You're just going to put it on the page, and you're going to let it bleed, and then you're going to discover it the way everybody else discovers it. Little blue in that shadow right there. Pick up a little bit right here. A little red in this shadow. Let me pick up some right there and put it right there. And then I'll let that dry, and then I'll detail those feet. Come in here. I'm just going to leave that spot right there. I love that. What I will do, I think, is come in with a cleaner brush, maybe just a touch more yellow right here. Give them just a little bit more of that beefy yellow right there. Come in here like so. Oh, man. Now I'm just playing. I'm just playing a little bit. I like, there's some red left in my brush, and I'm just going to tap a few little love spots right in there like that. You know, just beauty spots, beauty marks. That's what they should be called. This paper towel is going to have to go. All right, so there you go. Now let me move this back out so you can see the whole room. He's right there. I get carried away and forget where I am. That's why I don't move the camera too much. It's hard to be your own set director, show blocker, cameraman. But that gives you an idea of, look, here's one that I sketched, okay? Here's one that I sketched, and I followed it with some water. And you can see there's a lot more water in here. Let me just show you the difference. Look, This I can see the paper breaking here, which I like. I really do like this. But you see how these colors are a lot more translucent. Okay, same pigment, same color, just more water. Okay, this one, more pigment, less water. Take a look at the depth of the color. See how it pops off the page a little more? And I like the feel of this, how this is run down in here. And I'm going to pick up a little more of this orange, yellow, red and come right in here. Just hit some shadows on these feet. And I'll make those feet, they don't look very good right now, but trust me, when I put some veining in there, those are going to come right to life. Just put a little orange spot right there. Put a little back piece in here just for depth. I like that. I like that. I like this. I want some of my French gray in there just because I love French gray. So I'm just going to sprinkle some in just like that. Put a piece right there in that. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to come in with a little bit of my pen right here, and I'm going to anchor my hand above this and come in and just do a little bit of a small eye right here with my pen. Look at this. Just a little eye right there. And I'm going to put a little nostril. And I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in that eye. I'm going to get a tiny little brush here. And just not in the back part of the eye, not the front part of the eye. I'm just going to put a little bit right there. And there's my, put a little in here like this. A little orange in the tail. Now I'm just toying with it. And I'm waiting until somebody says, put the brush down and back away from the easel. But I like where that half-inch brush just sort of dripped down there and left these loose runs. There they are. There's that sound again that we all love. See how they just sort of look like it looks like he went under the fence and broke the fiber in the feather, and it just fell off. And so I love that. Okay, so I think that's kind of how I like it. Bob is in late from the cornfields this morning. Mom in the hospital for a little tune-up. Whoa! Hey, man, you betcha. Pray for you and Julie today. No worries, buddy. That's what this show's for, just good community. So thanks for being there. All right, I see there's a honeybee conversation going on, so you guys are a trip. I just love it. Everybody's got their own little run and their communication going on. It just makes me laugh. And I love honeybees. Come on. Who doesn't love honeybees? Somebody. Where did he go? Oh, he's back. He's back. He's back. I got to show you this. Take a look at that rooster right there. I got to show you this. And then I got to move this over just for a second and let it dry right there just for 1 minute. And then I want to show you something. You're talking about honeybees. Take a look. This book was written. Let's see when this book was written. This book was written in 1977. Okay. 1977, Garden Ways, Practical Beekeeping. It's a great little book. I got to show you what's in the front of the book. You ready for this? Look, see that signature right there? See that signature? It says Shirley. Look at the handwriting. Shirley G. Hahn. Shirley, my dad. Shirley. Yeah, his name was Shirley. He called my mom Joe, so my parents were Shirley and Joe. But look what I have. I have this book. I have my dad's bee blower. I have his gloves. I have his smokers, what I'm talking about. This is one of his favorite simple books on beekeeping. And he read this thing over and over and over. But look, my dad became the beekeeper of the Knox County Bee Association. And he was the president in 1978. And this was the tool that they gave him. See his name right there? Shirley G. Hahn. This is his hive tool. President of the Knox County Bee Association, 1978. And I think he stayed in that role for quite a few years. He had probably 60 hives of bees, and we would take them all down to Cookeville, Tennessee when the sourwood came in bloom. So this is beehive. I haven't cleaned it up. It's not sticky anymore, but there's still a little bit of just residue and wax. It just kept it that way. So there it is. That was a tool. And I said, you should put that up on the shelf. And he goes, hey, son, I'm using that thing. So he used it as his bee tool. Breaks the frames loose and reach down in there and pry some up. So when y'all are talking about beekeeping, I see that it's going by. Don't you love that? And so Diana said, it makes me sad that her son never learned cursive writing. Yeah, me either. My writing is terrible, but look at that. That's my dad's signature, and I'd know it in a heartbeat. And it's in a couple of his books that I have here. And this is a great book. I loaned it to a friend of mine recently who was starting bees again. He goes, man, there's some things in there that were just old school stuff, you know? And about pollen and the amount of acid and honey yields and housekeeping and bee behavior. And my dad built all his own boxes, and he didn't build he built the frames. We would go get the foundation, the wax foundation, to put in the frame. So that's why sometimes, you heard me say a minute ago, I might paint a bee in this rooster. And but let me show you what this one looks like now. I'll come back in and I'll get I can get a layout pencil, or I can get my 07 Pentel, and I can come back in and I can do just a little bit of detail in here if I want to. Just a little bit of veining in these feet to just give them a little bit of life. They don't need much. Put a little bit there, maybe just a little break here, just a little to sharpen that up. A little, so I'm coming in and putting the pen in afterwards, and I kind of like putting a little bit of detail in there with the pen, just letting my pen do what the paint was doing a while ago. A couple of colors coming down like this, and I suddenly have this rooster that I really do like. Maybe put a little touch of green right in there just for some grass. He's shadowing this grass just a little bit right in there like this. Don't get fancy. Just don't try to make the whole page green. And then I think I need a little bit of blue splatter all over this page, just kind of going here and there. And maybe a little dirt splatter in the down here in the earth. I feel the earth splatter under my feet. Carole King, wasn't it? All right, there we go. So there's a couple little different ways to paint big roos by just using a bigger brush, wetting your paint a little bit, letting it get really moist and watery, and then just taking it and in 5 minutes, one more time, I'll show you one more time what I did so you can go, wait, did he do this first or that first? I'm going to move this aside and let it dry. I'll sign this. He may show up in an auction one of these days. Roodoodles.com. There I am, 10/12/21. I actually dated the whole thing in years. I'm going to put some toenails on this Roo. He's right there. I like the fact that I didn't finish the back. It's just open. It just lets it kind of breathe a little bit. I mean, it's not too much different than this one, but you can see what I did. I'll come back and I'll finish these later. But I like to come in here when this is just the right dampness. And you see where that pen bled in there? That gave me that little bit of that shadow in the leg, which I really like. So these turn out really fun. I think I am going to do a big old honeybee out there on that one. So there's two 9x12s that I did this morning. Just kind of fun. Wow. They look, oh. I went to white carpet in the office. Now we're okay. All right, one more little move on that. Let me show you what it looks like, and I'll do it on a smaller piece of paper here, so a little more controlled, but just to show you what I'm talking about. Phil, this is your favorite paper, one of mine too. I'm just going to grab a little bit of a smaller brush. Here's a number 7. So do the same thing with this painting. Just grab a little bit of water, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of that blue paint, and I'm just going to go boom, 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 boom. Okay, a little more water, boom, a little more. And then this is one way to do it, right there, put some in. And then probably what I'll do is put a little bit of this red over here like this, just a touch, like so. That's not enough, but that'll get us started. And then a little yellow here. Put some of that right there. Just splatter that a lot actually. Drop some water on that red, drop some water on that yellow. And then I'm just going to blow this. Just pick it up like this and blow it out that way and blow those two like that. And so I wind up with this nice little splatter. Where's my number 7? I threw it down. This is how you get it all over your shirt. I think I just got a big old blob of it up here. It doesn't matter. Okay, so then I'm just going to take it and start to put those together like this. And I'm going to let that blue be the bottom end of the rooster. I got a couple minutes. I think I can finish this in a couple minutes here. It doesn't take too long. You've been painting a million roosters. It doesn't. Okay, I told myself a million times not to exaggerate, but I think you get the idea of what I'm going for here. And I'll let that orange and red in my brush just be, that red and yellow in my brush just be the color that I need to create the body of this roux. I picked up a little more red, but you see now I'm just adding to what I already had there. Crazy rough looking cone, but I'm going to point it out just a little bit, just picking up some of this. I'm going to come in like this and pick up a little bit of this blue, bring it in. And I'm going to pick up some, something I don't use much. I'm going to use some of this peach color right in here. Oop, there it is already there. It's in there already, see? That was where my red and my blue, my yellow ran together. Pretty crazy that works that way, isn't it? So you can't even, I'm telling you, don't worry about your colors. Let them just be what they are. The leg is up on this roux right here. Get a little bit of that blue in there. I just messed that up. It's all right. I'll go in and erase it right now. And I think I want that leg going the other way. I think I want that leg going back this way. There's what I wanted right there. Yeah, I wanted this leg reaching down. And so I'll just make the bottom end out of it like that. Pick up a little blue and go in here with one tail feather or two that's up higher. And so you can see how fast this can happen just in a matter of minutes to give yourself a little bit of a fun little abstract rooster. There he is right there. Do these lines here where I blew that paint out, does that bother me? No, are you kidding me? That's the part I love. Let me splatter a little more water on there and just do that again. And then I'll go out on this. Got 2 announcements to tell you about. Oh, I'm loving it. I think that turquoise needs to be splattered. Come on. It's 10 o'clock, but I got to go. Oh, yeah, love that right there. Okay, so there you go. What is the peach color you're using? Beverly Smith, I have no idea. I don't know. It may be peach. I'll look it up. I will look that one up and see if I can give you an answer. Hey, listen, if you're signed up for Roodoodles, registration's been closed for a week and a half now, but if you're signed up for Roodoodles 857, the private Facebook painting class, that'll open tomorrow. Everything seems to be working fine. I've restarted it and stopped it and started it and stopped it. We're going to pick up on some colors and painting, and we're going to paint 2 or 3 things slowly together. So thanks for being on that show. Let me tell you what might happen Saturday. There is a chance that I'll come to you live via my cell phone from the Stumptown Tractor Show in Huntersville, North Carolina. Lord willing, and it's a beautiful day. Grant, my son, and I, the baby big boy, the moose they call him, he and I will be there blacksmithing. And so we're loading everything up that's heavy and taking it there, and we're going to blacksmith there. And so I'll just set it up on a tripod. I'll make some announcements for about an hour during that time, but we're going to make some just simple stuff and get some people in the audience to come up to the forge and make a couple things too. One of the things sometimes we do is take in a case of a bottled drinks, Cokes. He works for Coke. We'll bring in some and we'll say, hey, would you like a Coke? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, you have to make your own bottle opener. And so we'll get people to make a bottle opener and then they'll have to open their drink. And so that's kind of a fun thing to do. So I think that we're come to you from the Stumptown, Huntersville, North Carolina Tractor Show. And it's a tractor pull. It's an old tractor show. It's kind of fun. And I just get to go in and reminisce having my Ford 8 in again. And, but also blacksmithing and just telling stories to people. So yesterday I went to get some bird seed, and I put 2 bags of bird seed on, and I bought a bottle of wine. So I've got a bottle of wine and bird seed, and it's sitting there on the counter. And so the young man looks at me and he says, wow, like this is the strangest combination. And I said, the birds at my house party. And he didn't really know what to do with it, but the fellow standing behind him said, what kind of birds? And I said, well, you know, I paint a lot of birds, but these birds, they're just cardinals. And they like this red wine. And they love this nut and berry seed, but they're cardinals, but they think they're the Pope. And he said, no wonder the way you're treating them. And I just fell apart. And I thought, what a great story. I will retell it. And I just love the quickness of the mind when you just think like an artist. And he's going like, well, no wonder they think they're the Pope. I mean, he just did it in great reflection and great It just like you're treating them like the Pope. And I just, well, I don't know. I don't know if the Pope, people take the Pope nuts and berries and fruits and wine, but maybe. But anyway, just to sit that on the counter, and the guy's putting it through his head. This guy buys, this old guy had on my old work shirt. I had to go get something for the project. And I thought, well, I'm here, I get birdseed. And I bet Carol probably needs a bottle of wine. And so I set them both down at the same time. So be blessed, be creative, think like an artist, and change up the way you paint today. Okay, paint differently today. Throw paint first, blow on it, make something loose. Just let paint happen today. Like me, rusted metal, let it be natural today. That's the word. Just kind of be natural. I want to act naturally. Watch out when you pour your tea out of a thermos that has pressure on it, or you'll be painting out of tea. Another cup for me, and I'm going to rust some metal. I'll take some photos, maybe put a little finished piece together for you. I'll see those of you registered for the class on the class tomorrow. Last sip of tea. Think about who you can encourage today. Got it. Got it. I'm going to make a phone call right now. Blessings to you. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Gosh, should I get a haircut someday? I'm thinking so.